Well, hey there, team. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a bit more Stationeers. Liftoff. Specifically, we're playing with chutes. You guys came out of the woodwork in force to come up with some really interesting ideas. I appreciate that. That's great, actually. What we're going to do is we're going to drop this little chip up here. It seems the consensus is that the console is not the correct path. And that's fine. Hang on. I'll probably need to crowbar that, actually. Drop that. We'll probably have to clean all this shit up at some point, but we'll piss all the console bits off. Bloody over here for a moment. I know it's a bit of a mess, but who cares? Like, I don't mind. If it's triggering you, oh, I don't know. Maybe you need a more compelling job to wear you out during the day or something. I don't know. It's strange how people are like, oh, I'm so triggered. It's so busy. I was like, it's a fucking video game, bloke. Alright, so... But we will come around to getting it cleaned up at some point. Let's eat the rest of that bar. I really should do my rounds. So we'll probably do that just to... not to leave you guys in suspense. But I read through all the comments. There was some really interesting suggestions. Shiva, I think it made the one that was most compelling. But then I thought... not that I'm trying to take his expertise and one-up it. Or he, her. But I feel like there might be a simpler way to... oh my god, that's not good for your health. There might be a simpler way, again, to do what they were suggesting. I'm going to float my idea and we'll see how we go. Look at that, 42 degrees. It's a bit warm in here. Alright, but everything's grown. But you can see it's got the wilting stat as well. That's because it's too hot, basically. Alright. Look at that, a perfect 20 stack. Oh wait, sorry. Nope, my math was off. Set outward. What's our pressure? It's okay. Oh, look at that. That's cooled it quite a bit. So we'll draw some pressure in. And then put it back out. Sort of to cycle it a bit. Okay, 24 degrees. 26 pressure. I mean, they can work with that, but I feel like maybe that's just not cold enough. Now, the other thing to consider is I probably haven't been doing this every night. I think I would have missed the last night of rounds. So, I mean... stuff it. We'll introduce a little bit more cooling. Hang on. So we'll go set inward. It should survive another night on these settings, but it's going to be as simple as adding one extra tiny bit of pipe wherever I have put the pipe. There it is. I guess we could just do something like that, right? Right? So it gives the... essentially we're adding more surface area to the cooling section of this pipe. We're not using radiators. That'd be too much. A radiator would actually wreck this system because it would super freeze that air. Well, you know what I mean? Like the point where if we pumped it out back into the system, it'd just be too cold. And then our plants wouldn't grow because it'll be below 14 degrees or whatever it is, 16 degrees. Okay, so what Shiva was suggesting was using... I believe they're called slot readers, but essentially using logic to read the status of this slot, the in slot, and compare it to the out slot, and using a compare logic operation that when they're not equal to one another, to turn on the furnace. Clever, right? Because as long as they're equal, like that, like empty, all good and well, but as soon as ore deposits into there, it'll receive the signal to turn the furnace on. I believe you'd have to leave this on, but it would turn this activation on there. It's cool, it's interesting, it should work. I wonder though, why can't we just use a slot reader on this front slot, right? Well, actually, I don't know. So either way, we're going to have to build a slot reader. But my thought is, so I'd rather lay out the theory and give myself room to be wrong but show you that the process is there. You know what I mean? The thought process is important. It's all good and well to just lay down the answer and say, oh, I knew it all along. I like the speculation. So why can't we get a slot reader, figure out how that outputs the slot status, presumably in binary, like in a 1 or 0, so I can get it to send a sort of an on or off signal. And why can't I then take that status of filled or empty and then feed that back in to turn the furnace on? So the compare function would work, but if it's as easy as just getting a 1-0 binary output of on or off, like as in empty or full, which surely the slot reader will give us, then I can convert that empty or full signal into an on or off signal. So it should be less complicated, essentially. Not that there's anything wrong with the compare function, and if there might be some glaring reason why what I'm saying won't work, but we won't know until we experiment. But that was my first knee-jerk reaction, was like, well, okay, if I can get this thing that generates an either-or signal, then surely I can use that to turn that into an on and off. So that's where we're at. So that's what I'm going to try and do now. So I believe it's in the logic in-out kit. Oh, look at that. We've got enough juice to get the ball rolling. Our solar panel's still going strong. But we may have to go mining after this. Not sure yet. Right, so if I was going to start building all this logic, I'm probably going to do it out the back here. Jesus, that's where my iron sheets went. Or some of my iron sheets. Hang on. I'll drop that. Let's lay the groundwork. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'll install a locker or something like that. You know. Frames, baby. That's what we want to see. So, what are we doing out here? Chutes are all going to be in the way there. Where's the sensible place to put the logic, do we reckon? Jetpack on. Like, I guess I can put logic against the wall to a point, you know? Yeah, maybe that's actually what I'll do. Hang on, I'll just leave these here. It's not like I'm going to pull the wall out anytime soon. Jetpack on. Alright, where'd me bloody thing go? There it is. Logic in out. Alright. So let's see what this bloody thing does. Not interested. Okay, cool. That's fine. I think I know why. Maybe we need a wall kit on the reverse side. Like that. Wait, was that a window that I just made? I think it was. It is. God damn. Why can't anything be easy? Alright. Angle grinder. Angle grinder. This is not an angle grinder. Wait, hang on. Make sure it's just the window that we're pulling down. Okay. Don't really want to breach that wall. Oh, I guess it's not the end of the world. Iron wall. There we go. Now, would you like to place against that? Hey! Look at that. Logic reader. Batch writer. Logic. Okay, so slot reader. This is what we're talking about here. Give me my bloody screwdriver. Let's see what's going on. No device. Slot. Okay. Okay. I'm curious, if I were to run a data cable into there without powering it, will it actually be able to understand what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, will it tell me what it can draw the data line from without power? I wouldn't be surprised if it actually did. Alright, so we want to hit it on, we want to hook it onto this sort of network. I think the smart money will just be run it straight out the back wall. Stuff it, we'll do like that. We can always modify it, but that way I can actually see what I'm doing on the reverse side. 2 gold. Nothing. Alright, look at this. You guys have taught me to read contents. Need some copper to make wires. I believe we've got a big chunk of copper in here. 28. Do I want to bother with capturing the gas? Right. Well, I probably should. I mean, come on. It's the whole point of doing this. Let's not just get bloody slack all of a sudden. You know? Right. Inward. On. So per copper, I can get 2 cable. 2, 3, so that's 6, 8. Look, 10 will probably get the ball rolling, so let's just do that. Alright. How's that going? Oh look, it's a pittance, but it's still good form, and it seems like there's a lot of energetic people getting around this experiment. So that's what I'm enjoying. All right, cable.
Hunger, caution.
Yeah. One thing at a time, please, Shaz. Oh, stuff it. Yeah, we got 6 copper, didn't we? I might as well. It's all good. I'll eat a raw potato. Don't say I wouldn't. All right. Now we're not worried about like shorting circuits and all that sort of stuff. We can just have it all bloody connected in. That doesn't have a below output. Okay. What if we get this bloke involved, and then we do... Oh yeah, we could probably do something like that. Yeah, there we go. It's going to be a bit harder to see where the cables are going, but we'll just have to pay attention. Oh, is it sort of poking out this side? Oh, it is too. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to test actually before we plug it into power, right? What I was musing about is, can it detect? It can. It can detect all the inputs that are on that network without it being powered. That's cool. What we want is the arc furnace. Cycle 2. Arc furnace. Alright. Slot. Import slot. Export slot. Import slot. Variable. No, cycle to No. Import. Now it's on import. Cycle to max quantity for import slot. Wait, really? Damage, class, quantity. Prefab hash. Occupied. That's what we want. That's 100% what we want, right? But I'm curious about quantity, because you could work with quantity, right? If there wasn't an occupied, because you got zero and you got not zero. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's just wind it round. Right. Hang on, I get confused about cycle 2. Cycle 2 quantity, that's what I want. Now turn that on. There we go, 22. Which presumably is the amount in there. So not only can we read that, we can read the amount inside the slot. That's so clever. I mean, it's not super helpful, but it's interesting. I mean, it also doesn't make sense. It's a video game, right? Like, in what world could this sort of logic actually exist in this simpler system that it can read that? Well, I mean, actually, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. In what world can you stack 20 things into one spot? It doesn't physically make sense. But anyway, the fact that it can read that is actually really cool. That'll be really helpful for all sorts of inventory and that. Hypothetically, right, you could probably make a huge mass fabrication plant and you could set it to always have X ingots, X amount of every type of ingot or every type of item. And you could potentially logic it to cleverly say, well, we're going to put this copper into an alloy over here, and now we're going to put this copper into just a normal ingot on its own to top up the ingots. You know, you could make some pretty crazy shit with that from an inventory perspective. And you know I live for that sort of thing. Okay, but what we really want to do is go occupied. Occupied equals 1. That's what we want.
Jetpack on.
See, I don't use logic that much. It is funny. I think a big part of why I don't, I'm just going to double check this. It should say 22. It does. Huh?
Jetpack on.
Because of all the things I've ever done in engineering, I don't like this stuff as much. I find the pursuit. Hang on, let's just double check this, and that equals 0. Perfect. All right, so we've got a 1-0 readout depending on whether or not there is ore in the slot, and that's cool. I might actually just dump the ore here. Like I said, my interests are of the mechanic nature of pulling engines apart, and you know, like I found along the way, I really enjoy sort of HVAC. And hydraulic systems and that sort of stuff. That's sort of what I find fascinating. So that's why I get really excited about doing all the piping and that sort of thing, because that's my interest. Little did I know that fucking 3/4 of my degree was going to be programming. So I guess I'm more a well, you know what? I'd be curious, anyone that's done a modern mechanical engineering degree,
Jetpack on.
you're probably more of a bloody computer programmer than a mechanical engineer, at least at the academic scale, if that makes sense. Anyway, but we don't talk about all that stuff too much here. Okay, so we've got a slot reader, and we've got a 0-1. Okay, so what we're going to want to need to do is probably write that,
Jetpack
right?
on.
To send it. We need a writer, which would probably be an in-out as well, right? Yeah. Because they've changed the logic quite a few times. Alright, we need more copper again. Oh my goodness, you know what, actually? I was going to say, I really need to fill that in. Then why don't you just fill it in, you fucking square head? So that's what I'm doing. As I was just going to comment on it. Oh, we're out of milk. Puts empty milk back in fridge.
Jetpack on.
Stuff it. Good practice. We're not going to be doing this for much longer anyway. Should never have to touch that switch, actually. I'll do a couple extra. Now, as far as having the power turn on and off, that is another level which we're probably not going to bother with, right? I'm just going to accept that it has a static draw. Because remember, we're not activating this on and off because we're trying to save power. We're doing it because we want a way to turn the switch on and off without having to go through all that rigmarole. So the power draw is not a concern, ergo, I couldn't give a fuck about leaving all the switches on, even leaving the fan running the whole time. We will just build a bigger grid that can offset the constant draw. That's fine. So the answer isn't more logic to automate power switches. The answer is a higher power draw from an infinite source. I should probably deal with this before I, like, die or something. But yeah, battery tech is something we're going to have to start looking at now. We should put a charger on the side as well because, as we've discussed, doing that out of the main line causes all sorts of problems. Like, it turns off production and that, and I don't really want to be interrupting the grid power flow, so we need to put a battery charger that I interact with. Alright, okay, I'll have a potato. Don't say I won't. Alright, cool. Logic writer. So let's put him there. Oh, for crying out loud, how do I go through all that cable? I printed like bloody fucking 12. Jesus. Standing on those brakes, big fella. Oh, well, hang on. Let's experiment with this anyway. We've got it plugged in. In. Slot reader, right? State 0. Oh, that's problematic. Hang on. Output. Well, I mean, we haven't got it on the network actually, so let's deal with that. Now, I did cook an extra couple of coppers. Remember? I'm not wanting to blast through my copper at the moment because that seems to be the only chunk of resource that I've got to use as a test when this happens. I'm trying to avoid mining as much as possible. And if I just go and turn it all into bloody ingots, then I'll have to go get more. What am I saying? Cable. 4 cable. That might do it. Let's go.
Jetpack on.
All right. Oh, I've got it in my hand already. Wonderful. Look at that. Mate, you'd love to see it. Alright. In slot reader, right? Out. No other writable devices on network. Oh, of course. Wait. You are connected to the network, are you not? You're not. You're not. You can see just there how the cable's curving that way. It's not curving that way. Ah!
Jetpack on.
Hang on. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to cook this real quickly.
Jetpack on.
Right. Fuck, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need. Oh yeah. Hang on. That should be right now. Oh, here we go. Arc furnace. State 1. Output variable. Cycle to lock. Clear memory. Activate. On. On sound. Well, hang on. On and activate are going to be different. Activate. Oh shit, I probably just turned it on while I was doing this. Well, at least we know it works. Well, there we go. It works. I think it works. Let's just let that finish. Actually, fuck it. Let's... Oh, can I not turn it off? Cannot interact. It's currently locked. That's interesting. I didn't give you permission to lock. Wait, hang on. Is this running empty? I can't see what's in it. Oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, good. I was gonna say, like, is it just gonna keep going? Alright, okay, this is fascinating. We're nearly there. We lost a bit of gas there. It's a bit of a shame. I've got that little extra bit of chute. Where is it? Yeah, it's red. Our network's gone to red as well. Okay, so if I were to... Fuck. I have no ore now. It's almost like I saw this whole problem presenting itself. I'm just going to quickly grab some, because I know we've got some in proximity, right? Is that volatile? See, of all the things to find, that's not what we needed. Here we go. Some copper, of all things. I mean, shit, we only need one.
Jetpack on.
Let's move this ingot so I don't get confused. Right. So if I were to go split... No, go the other way. Split one. And then put that back away. Now our logic system should be on. This power should be on. Okay. And if I were to go boop. Huh? Hey, look at that. Cooks it for me. How good is that? And I guess we could just leave that on forever and update our power draw accordingly. How good is that, team? Okay, cool. So one of the next things that we want to do is shore up our grid. We need more batteries, essentially. Now the thing is, I'm not sure what battery tech we can build without making steel. Go bat. See, this kit requires steel. Pretty sure the large one does as well. Yep. And the small one might not, but how are you going to use that? Well, maybe in a power controller. And that requires solder. So, steel is the next step, basically. So, we haven't really overtasked everything too much. In fact, you can see we've got that left turn on, we've got left turn on, and all the logic systems turned on. And yet we're still getting the green-blue flash, which means we're drawing more from the sun now than the grid is currently drawing, right? So at least we're not running at a loss. That'd be a significant problem. But
Jetpack on.
there you go. That works really well. And like I said, I'm not worried about passive draw. I'm worried about passive draw in the early stages when, you know, there's not much that you can do about it. But as far as current sort of situation, we're still doing okay. So yeah, we need to potentially shore up our power grid, because even though we're outdrawing our grid, are we outdrawing our personal use on the life support battery that we swap out for that? It's an interesting question. What we probably could do immediately is hook up the battery charger unit that we get that starts with us, because there will be there's potential for excess draw. Look, that's already gone up to yellow and we're not halfway through. So maybe if we're not using machines much, we might be able to overdraw what these batteries capacities have, and then we can get a little bit more storage. But no, the answer definitely at the moment is steel. So we're going to have to hook up an arc furnace. And as much as I'd love to have, like, using our capture gases to turn that into, like, fuel, potentially, that's too far down the track. So we're just going to do the bloody ham fist version where you jam ice in and cook. But when we lay down the furnace, perhaps I'll try and figure out where I'm going to lay it down in relation to this current base. That's sensible. Because I don't want to necessarily build anything here, because this is going to be an expandable atmospheric sort of area. And that was a fun little system doing that, wasn't it? It's cool. We'll do something similar. We might end up putting it here or something like that, so it's nearby, all the gases and that. Yeah. Anyway, team, thanks again for joining me. We might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.